Welcome to the second half of our series on forgotten comic book heroes. Gorgo is a British-made monster movie released in 1961. It's a silly but fun movie about a 65-foot tall dinosaur-like creature who's captured and brought to London to be exhibited at a circus. But the creature's captors don't realize at first that Gorgo is just a baby, and a very, very angry mommy will soon be looking for him. Charlton Comics began to publish a comic book about little Gorgo and his mother that same year. The first issue was a straightforward adaptation of the movie, with artwork by Steve Ditko, the artist who would soon be co-creating Spider-Man and Doctor Strange at Marvel Comics. Ditko's striking compositions helped make the first issue of Gorgo a success. 22 more issues followed, with the last published in 1965. A separate miniseries titled Gorgo's Revenge for the first issue and The Return of Gorgo for the last two issues was also published. Steve Ditko's art was featured on a number of these. Other artists who worked on the series included Charles Nicholas, Joe Sinnott, and Bill Monto. The artist on several issues is unidentified. Most, and possibly all of the scripts, were written by prolific comic book scribe Joe Gill. The second issue had the Gorgos rampaging through New York, destroying landmarks and proving to be immune to all weapons, up to and including an atomic bomb. Now, despite all this destruction, the monsters already generated sympathy with readers. The theme of a mother caring for her child underlied each issue. But gradually, the Gorgos became even more sympathetic, as they began to follow a story arc similar to that being used in the Godzilla films made during the same decade. The monsters would often become the defenders of humanity. The Earth began to get invaded with frightening regularity by aliens, who often brought giant robots or monsters of their own along. When the armies of the world failed to stop these aliens, the Gorgos became humanity's only hope. Now, during the 1960s, communists were often the go-to bad guys in many comic book stories. So the Gorgos were often put to work stopping communist invasions of Western nations. Also, military dictators would occasionally try to get control of Gorgo and use him to increase their own power. This never ended well for them. Monsters created by science gone mad, or prehistoric creatures brought back to life, also needed to be put down by Gorgo and his mother. One issue featured a mad scientist who turned himself into a giant and went hand-to-hand with Gorgo. The last issue had Gorgo and a human traveling through time together. Now, all of this was very silly, but the stories played the material straight without ever becoming too serious. Because of this and some great artwork, Gorgo was a delightful and fun series all through its run. The library's collection includes Ditko's Monsters, Gorgo, reprinting the issues illustrated by Steve Ditko. This is available for checkout and is well worth reading. Other issues of Gorgo have entered the public domain and can be found and read online.